Welcome to another live stream here with Erik Wait. Usually I go live on Friday nights, but the Oz was earlier today, and I was hoping that Ardbeg 10 would win for best introductory whiskey or entry level whiskey. So I was going to do something on Ardbeg winning the best entry level whiskey. Unfortunately, as I actually predicted last week, the Aaron 10 won. An Aaron 10 won for two different categories. Aaron won for best distillery and for sorry for spoilers if you haven't watched the Oz. Hey, sorry, I don't know what the hell is going on. This is the second time this has happened. This is some serious bullshit. Sorry. Hopefully everyone's still tuned in. This happened last week, and I don't know why. Anyhow, give me just a second, get things set up again. And it was out for like 2 minutes last week, and now it just happened again. So give me a second, just get things set up. That is so irritating. And I've never had this happen before. Now it's happened two weeks in a row that the thing just freaking cuts out on me. All right. Hopefully everyone is still here. Don't know why. All of a sudden it just freezes up. My guess is the signal is fine. Everything is fine. I have no idea. Hey, Richard and Mary, how you doing, man? So they came for the serious bullshit. Anyway, I got to do one more thing. I got to bring it in a little closer. Something. I do not know what is going on here. Sorry about the technical difficulties. This happened last week, and it just drives me absolutely bonkers. All right, there we go. Man, I don't know. All right, move on. On the technical difficulties. All right. So I was going to go live Friday night, but the Oz was earlier today, 4 hours ago. I thought, okay, let's see if Ardbeg wins for best entry level whiskey, and then I want to do something special regarding Ardbeg. But it didn't work out the way I wanted it to. Hey, G-Man, how you doing, man? Thanks for the tip, by the way, on the Bunnahabhain Moyne Oloroso Official Edition. Ordered 2 of those. Looking forward to those getting in. It'll be a while, but anyhow, So it's, you know, when you get something goes wrong and your mind just, you're like, "Argh," and now you need to like get your brain straightened out and get, you know, back on track because it's just throwing you off, and you gotta focus, get back into it. All right. So gonna do a little review of, this is the Ardbeg 12, That Boutique-y. I got this from um, Ed O'Meara over at the Rodget Review. Let me bring up notes real quick on this particular whiskey because that's what I'm going to be talking about. But I'm going to be talking about Ardbeg 10 as well. So here's the whiskey. So I was at the Bastards Ball a few weeks ago down in Texas. Everybody knows I'm a big Ardbeg fan. Met Ed O'Meara over at the Rot Gut Review. If you're not familiar with the Rot Gut Review, this is basically what his logo looks like. Ed has a very distinctive approach to doing whiskey tuber stuff. Really, really, really funny guy. But he's also, I would say, a smart person who knows his shit when it comes to whiskey. So he can come across as, you know, at first impressions, is sort of a schlocky channel that doesn't give a shit about whiskey, that it's just all about this nasty stuff, and who now would want to drink that stuff anyway, and whatever else. But it turns out actually he's got just a very unique sense of humor, and his partner Erica is great as well. And I would put him in the camp of channels that tend to be heavier on humor than on, say, information. That this would include the Bourbon Junkies, ADHD Whiskey, the Whiskey Tribe, the Whiskey Vault, a little more on the humor side. Ed is also in that sort of camp, but with his very sort of twisted sense of humor that I really, really like. I really enjoy his channel. So he brought me this sample, and let me share with you the notes. I had actually never heard of this particular independent bottler. So here we go. It's Ardbeg 12-year-old, That Boutique-y Whisky Company, which it's got to be an independent distiller. Independent bottler. I never heard of them before. So I looked them up. Only 1,928 bottles released. It's bottled at 47% alcohol by volume and sells for about $120 for $375. That's half of a $750. So if you're to double the price, that's $240 for a regular sized bottle. Yowza, that's expensive. But so I'm really, really happy. Ed and Eric also gave me one other t-shirts. This is a Rotgut Review t-shirt. They give it to me. They were giving them out to people at the Bastards Ball. So really, really looking forward to this. Even before putting it in the Glencairn, you see it's super light in color. So you definitely, you know, all natural in color. So I've been doing this series on Irish whiskey, and I have a bottle that I'm going to be reviewing. I've almost been tempted to not review it. And for those who are watching this, it's a whiskey I'm not real thrilled with. And I'll show you that whiskey. This is the West Cork. I have two bottles from West Cork. One is a barrel strength whiskey, which actually is really, really good whiskey. It's bottled at like 62% alcohol by volume. I'll be reviewing that one. So that review will be coming up next. Really, really like that whiskey. Also picked up this one. It's a peated charred cask. I'll show it to you. So it's a bizarre whiskey. And there are a number of different Irish peated whiskeys. You may be familiar with the Connemara series. There is the non-age statement. There is this 12-year-old. And I also have a cask strength. All of them have a certain sense of a gasoline character to them. Just a minuscule amount on the non-age statement. Its non-age statement is at 40% ABV. It has some of the typical Irish green notes, like a Jolly Rancher candy, but with this little bit of petrol note that's sort of tolerable, and then this underlying smoky note. The 12-year-old, that petrol note gets kicked up a notch, and then the cask strength, which I have over here and I've already reviewed, it's undrinkable. It's undrinkable. But I got to say, overall, even if you're talking about the non-age statement, forget it. Forget it. Someone on Facebook had made comments about. He said he hadn't tried or gotten into Irish peated whiskeys, and basically I said, absolutely forget Connemara. Just forget about it. There is another whiskey from Ireland, which is this is the Dunaville's 3 Crowns blended Irish whiskey. It's aged spent some time in a peated cask. It's kind of meh. It's not bad. It's drinkable, but you know what? For the same amount of money, you can get something better from Islay. Then there is, in terms of some good Irish peated whiskeys, here is the Black Pits, which when I first tried it, the smoky character wasn't enough. It was too subtle. After over 6 months and reviewing it, I actually found I quite like it. It's a Sauternes cask, and then it's some peated barley in it, but it's triple distilled, which really backs up a lot of the peaty character to it. So it's a good whiskey. It's a tasty whiskey. However, quality price ratio, if you want a peated whiskey, they're $20 cheaper. You can get a really good Islay whiskey. Then for another Irish whiskey, this is the Slave Leg Silky Irish whiskey. This uses Irish peat. This is actually quite nice. This is actually the only one out of Ireland that has really, really impressed me, and for a quality price ratio. I really like this. So Christopher Malloy, Connemara is disappointing. Unless you're just sort of a diehard Irish fan, you just got to have something that's peated from Islay. Jonathan Raider asked me if I've had a sheep dip Islay. No, I've not had that. I'm guessing is that an independent baller? I've not had that. Anyway, so in trying these various Irish whiskeys, and more recently having this West Cork peated cask, this is just bizarre. I mean, I'll do my formal review. I'll get it down a little bit further to give it a fair shake, but I just found it really disappointing. We're going into colder weather now, getting cooler weather. It's getting down to about 45 degrees at night. It could be in the low 60s Fahrenheit. That's cold for California. And that gets you really into the mood more, at least me, more in the mood for peated whiskeys. And so you ever I'm really in the mood for a steak. I'm really in the mood for Italian food, or for pizza or something. I'm really in the mood for whatever it is, right? I get these times where I'm just really in the mood for a nice Pinot Noir. I'm really in the mood for Cabernet Sauvignon. I'm really in the mood for something. And when the colder weather comes, hey, Cheech, how you doing, man? And when the cold weather comes, I'm like, I am in the mood for peated whiskeys. And it's like, you have to have a peated whiskey that's just going to scratch that itch. That's just going to give you that satisfaction of, yes, this is awesome. This is really, really good. And so when I was tasting this last, and I do a neck pour, get it past the shoulders. If you guys have been following me for a while, you know I do things. I like to get it down to about the label before I do a formal review. And I'm just feeling this like, geez, what the hell are these people thinking? You can actually kind of get a little pissed off. Are you guys actually tasting the stuff before you put this on the market? What the hell, man? Like Cooley, producers of Connemara. Do you guys actually taste this stuff before you put it on the market? Or you just say, hey, what the hell, man? Well, I'm sure we're going to find somebody who likes to drink gasoline. Literally, it's like gasoline. You go to the pump and you put it in, and when you pull the nozzle out of your vehicle to put it back into the pump, you can get that smell. That's exactly what Connemara smells like. And as you go into the 12 and you go into the castrate, it just gets more and more intense. So I just felt really, really disappointed by this West Cork. And I'm still going to give it a fair chance. Perhaps my mind will change as I get further down into the bottle, but I doubt it. So after drinking some of this West Cork, man, I got to have something to, one, clean that crap off of my palate, and then have something that's really going to scratch the itch. And I just go, I'm going to go with Ardbeg 10. Ardbeg 10. That's what I got to have. That I know it will never disappoint, an Ardbeg 10. So I actually kind of want to do a little bit take on this review, a comparison of this Ardbeg 12, the Boutique-y Whisky Company, with an actual Ardbeg 10. So here is the Ardbeg 10. I'm going to do a side by side. Now, obviously, you got 2 more years. ABV is 46, non-chill filtered, natural color. This is at 47, so it's actually fairly close in terms of the ABV. Lost here. The Ardbeg 10. What? I'm all out. Ah! I'm out of the Ardbeg 10. What am I going to do? Shit. I need some more Ardbeg 10. Come on. Shit. I'm all out of Ardbeg 10. Tell you what. I'm going to go to the store real quick. I'll run to the store real quick and get me some Ardbeg 10. So just to keep you guys entertained, when I run to the store, I'm just going to run to the store real quick and get some Ardbeg 10. Just hold on real quick. I made it back. Let me catch my breath. Hold on. All right. Went to the store, ran to the store real quick. Got me another bottle. Kind of winded, man. I'm out of shape. Give me another bottle of Ardbeg 10. All righty. Here we go. All right. This is my 6th bottle of the Ardbeg 10 since 2016. So let me open this puppy up, find the little pull tab here. All righty. Ardbeg 10. A house should never be without a bottle of the Ardbeg 10. There. Ooh, that was a good one. That was a nice little pop there of the Ardbeg 10. Feeling a little winded, man. I had to run like miles just to get to the liquor store. Heaven, I'm in heaven. But you didn't know that heaven smells like Ardbeg 10-year-old Isla single malt Scotch whiskey. It's exactly what it smells like. All right. So color-wise, it does look fairly similar. I mean, just a minuscule amount darker than the 12. The 12 is a little, just a hint more pale. And you might think if it had a little more time in the cask, that perhaps it might be a little darker, but it's not. Now, when I had getting into that West Cork peated cask, just not scratching that itch of the peat that I wanted, and then having a little bit of the Ardbeg 10, you just go, yes, yes. And the thing is, that's just the Ardbeg 10. I could have gone Cork, could have gone Ugadal, could have gone Dark Cove. I'm not short on Ardbegs here, right? But just the 10, which is about $55 in my neighborhood, 46% ABV. And yet it's such a satisfactory whiskey. And for less money than these Connemara's, the Slave Leg, the Dunnavilles, peated cask, you can find real satisfaction. And it's almost as if to truly appreciate good whiskey, sometimes you need to try some shitty whiskey, right? Now, the most part, I'd rather leave that to Ed O'Meara over at the Rot Gut. By the way, put a link to the Rot Gut review in the description down below. Check him out. Every once in a while, I know life is too short. You only got one liver. Why don't you? Let's not drink shitty whiskey. But every once in a while, and not necessarily you got to buy a bottle of shitty whiskey, but every once in a while, taste something shitty so you can appreciate the good stuff. When I was studying wine and going through wine seminars and wine tasting and studying for the WSET and doing things with the Institute of Masters of Wine, they'd say, we're the Institute of Masters of Wine, not the Institute of Masters of Fine Wine. And so you get to know the shitty wines or the budget wines, less quality wines. And I think having lesser quality wines does give you an appreciation for the better ones. So every once in a while, drink some less than optimal so you have a great appreciation. So anybody who likes peated whiskey but sticks their nose up at Ardbeg 10, I'm going to say, have you tried the Connemara? Have you tried the Dunnavilles? Have you tried the West Cork? Now, the West Cork is a peated cask, right? You may think, well, that's just because they're not using real peated barley. They're just using a peated cask, as well as the Dunnavilles. But you think, okay, just write it off because they're using a peated cask and not the actual peated barley. However, Glenlivet also has a peated cask. I don't know where it is at the moment. Oh, it's way over there. It's. I think it's over there. Where did I put it? You got a problem when you don't know where you put your particular bottles of whiskey. Anyway, the peated Glenlivet Nadura. It's bottled at 62% alcohol by volume or 62.1, and it's over there somewhere. It's also done in a peated cask. That's a really, really nice whiskey. The first time I tried it was at a castle. Not Huntsville. Huntington? I think it's Huntington Castle. Been turned into a hotel. Anyway, tried it in the bar there. Really, really liked it. Bought a bottle. It's under $100. Really like the whiskey. So you can do a peated cask whiskey. That's a quality one. It's kind of trying to drive me crazy. Where in the hell did I put that damn thing? Is it over there? Here it is. Here it is. Okay. I'll show it to you. Hold on. Give me a second. I'll find it. If I'd been thinking, I would have had this out earlier. There we go. There we go. So, if you ever get a chance to try this, I actually really, really like this. This is the Glenlivet Peated Nadura. Nadura is Gaelic. It means natural. So this is at unchill filtered, no added coloring, 61.5% alcohol by volume. So I actually really, really like this one and I've already reviewed it. So the issue then with these peated whiskeys, Irish peated cask whiskeys, it's not that they're using a cask and not using actual barley, because Glenlivet successfully made a quality whiskey using a peated cask. Maybe they're not getting the best casks. Certainly that could be a point. But it can be done. So overall, and I'm winding down my series on Irish whiskeys. I have 2 more whiskeys to go. Next, I'll be doing a series on Texas whiskey. And then starting 2022, I'll be doing a series on independent Islay whiskeys In fact, for the next 2 years, starting from beginning of 2022, I'll probably be doing almost exclusively Scotch, nothing but Scotch for at least 2 years. That's in order to prepare for exams. Might do a few Japanese as needed, but whatever. All right. So, a message to anyone in Ireland who's working on one of these distilleries who wants to do a peated whiskey. I got to say, it's a short trip. Go over to Islay, drink their whiskeys, taste their whiskeys, learn and see what they are doing and how they're making peated whiskeys. Go to Ardbeg, go to Lefroy, go to Lagavulin, learn what they're doing in making peated whiskeys, and then do something. Now, you can still do something in an Irish style with an Irish take on it, but that's where quality is. Now, I don't know if it's the cuts they're doing or what, but Ireland, in the peated category, it's just not really done. All right, let's get into these. I bitch and moan and groan, complained enough. Now let's get into these whiskeys. So, of course, this has just been opened. I don't know how long the 12-year-old Boutique-y has been opened. I didn't ask Ed. I should have gotten more information from him. I would say the Ardbeg 10 is actually more youthful, but it's a little bit more intense. The 12 is softer on the nose. 10 is fruitier on the nose. The 10 is a little brinier. The 12, I'm getting sort of a smell of cocoa. Or if you're gonna make hot chocolate and it comes in little packets, and you rip open the top and then you pour that in, and then you pour it in the hot water or hot milk to make your hot chocolate. And you just ripped open the packet of hot chocolate mix or whatever, and you get a smell of the hot chocolate, of the powdery mix. That's what I'm getting on this. Hey, Jeff Whiskey, how you doing, man? Thanks for tuning in. Kentucky Bluegrass, thanks for tuning in. Everybody let me know what you're all drinking. Jeff Whiskey, if I recall correct, you were the one wearing a tie-dye shirt. Looked like you stole one of Bart's Scotch Test Dummies shirts. Not familiar with it, had never seen you before, but good to see you here in the chat. And if you got a channel, you put a link down below. I do get sort of I would say classic Ardbeg character, sort of that green lemon and lime character. It's just not as intense as the 10. This is a little bit more, the 10 is a little bit more oceanic. I'm going to take this. So just keep it clear. I'm going to put the 10 over here. Since I got the 10 over here. So I got the bottle picture over here. The bottle picture over here for the Boutique-y. So I got this over here, and I got the bottle of the 10 over here. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, I got them crisscrossed. You know what I'm going to do? I'm trying to keep this straight. Okay. This needs to match up with that. This needs to match up with that. All right. Hold on. Okay. This is the Boutique-y. Let's keep that over here. I'm trying to get the image. I'm looking at it. It's mirrored. This is the 10 over here. All right. So now I have the bottles lined up with the glasses and the image. So now you can see what I got. All right. Don't want to get myself confused here. Thankfully, the 12 is a lighter in color, so I can tell the difference between the two. All right. There's a little bit of a mint character coming off the 12. I'm not getting that so much off the 10. All right. IC86 says, I'm drinking Kilchoman Loch Gorm. Oh, nice. Which I got to celebrate my birthday yesterday. Now, I'm curious how old you are. I know you're going to make me feel old by telling me how old you are. I'm 55. On the palate. All right, let's start off with the 12-year-old on the palate. Of course, that's just one sip. It's a little bit spicier than I would say the Ardbeg 10, just going from memory, but we'll get into it in a second. It's lighter. I know I haven't even tasted it yet, but just from memory. Now I'm going to try the Ardbeg 10. IC86 turned 57, so you're older than I am. I expect most the demographics for my channel are between 35 and 55 is the biggest age group for my channel. So I expect everybody in general to be younger than I am. All right, now the 10. Try a little bit more water. The 12 is thinner. Feels lighter. Now, alcohol gives a whiskey body. Oils in a whiskey give it a mouthfeel that give it body. They shouldn't. I would expect the 12 to be maybe a little bit more heavier, but it's actually lighter, a little thinner, but not necessarily in a bad way. The 10-year-old, the flavor character actually punches through a little bit more. IC86 says, yep, and a much fuller red beard than you had. Well, I didn't have a red beard. I had a gray blonde beard, I guess. By the way, I might currently the beards and the mask thing don't go work with it. There were a number of different reasons I got rid of the beard. One was having to wear a stupid mask all day at work and stuff, and it would hug your face. It would then put this weird curve into my beard, and then I had to comb your beard out in order to get it to not be smushed. And I got tired of that crap. So that was an additional reason. So when the mask thing goes away, and our current administration, I think they're bent on for us always wearing masks. When the mask thing finally goes away, I might grow the beard back. But in the meantime, I'm done fighting with the beard and the mask and all that bullshit. Tired of that. But I might grow back afterwards. All right. The 10 has more punch. The 12 has more vanilla. It has more spice. It has more of a minty character on the finish. Well, the 10 has a better mouthfeel. It's more rounder, creamier. It has I'm talking minuscule. These are minor differences. It has a little bit more oomph, kind of a weight to it. I'm guessing that's because of oils, not because of ABV. So these are definitely like brothers. So I've also said this is my sixth. Like it's my sixth bottle. I got the Ardbeg 10-year-old ingrained in my head really, really well. So I'm going on not only in terms of what I'm tasting now, but my memory and recall of what I've had before. This 12-year-old from Boutique-y, it's a killer whiskey. It's a little spicier, a little more vanilla. It's thinner. It feels a little lighter. It doesn't quite have the same mouthfeel. The Ardbeg 10 is a little bit more richer. I'm talking minuscule amounts, a little bit more depth, more of a mouthfeel. They both have a certain Ardbegness to them that I find difficult to describe. They have this lemon lime character that isn't in common. There's a character to the peat. It sort of reminds me of mud. that sounds bad. Somebody who doesn't like peat. But if you've ever, or clay, if you've ever worked with clay, so you took a pottery class in high school, or if you ever worked with a pottery wheel and you take a big blob of clay and you put it on the wheel and you get some water and you get the thing spinning, and you start shaping and stuff, and you can kind of smell the clay character, maybe even sort of taste it because it's in the air. There's that sort of character to the earthiness of Ardbeg. That's sort of a classic sign for Ardbeg, where the Freud is, I would say, is much more of a oceanic, has much more of an oceanic peatiness. Lagavulin, a little bit more of a slightly gentler peaty character to it. Ardbeg has this sort of clay mud character to it. I'm going to say both of these whiskeys are absolutely fantastic. I tend to go over 90 points with the Ardbeg 10. Both lovely, lovely, lovely drams. Absolutely delicious. If you've had the Trayvon, the Ardbeg Trayvon, the 19-year-old Trayvon, I have the first release. Where did I put it? It's right here. Sorry. I think they have the batch 3 out now. So the Ardbeg 19 Trayvon, this is batch number 1. I get the idea of what they're doing with the 19-year-olds. I'm not planning on buying another. I keep buying batch 2, batch 3, and so on and so forth. It's a yearly release. Product core range, but it's a yearly release. So not always available, but they have their releases. The Ardbeg 19-year-old Trayvon is a delicate, more lighter Ardbeg that has a lot more finesse to it. And yet you can sort of perceive its relationship to the Ardbeg 10. It's kind of like you can see sort of growing up and becoming more refined, and lighter and more delicate. In the way that the 19, you go from the 10-year-old all the way to the 19-year-old. There's this you can see this leap in the development and the elegance of the whiskey. I can perceive that this 12-year-old is on the way to becoming the 19-year-old. It's on the way. I would say probably the main thing that on this particular 12-year-old that I'm getting that I wouldn't necessarily get from the 19-year-old is that spice character. But in terms of the mouthfeel, the delicate character to it, and the development, I can see this Boutique-y 12 is on its way to becoming something very similar to the Trayvon. All right, so let me bring up the comment here. All right. So he says, Erik, sorry, should have prefaced with your channel name. I didn't see your previous comment. If the 12 is lighter and less mouthfeel, does it mean that it is filtered more than Ardbeg 10? Not necessarily. I don't think there's any char filtering going on. I think it's just a matter. I think it's just a matter of maturation. That's the development. That's the way in which the peat is going to. The character of the peat is going to develop. So let's take here's Ardbeg 5, Wee Beastie. The Ardbeg 5 Wee Beastie definitely seems youthful. It has much more of a green note to it, and the peat character is really quite prominent. So if I were to line up a whole bunch of them and go from one end to the other, you would see the differences and the changes in terms of the mouthfeel and the weight. That as the whiskey gets more mature and more developed, certain characteristics become more integrated. The peat character is less obvious. It's less in your face and becomes more integrated. And then the whiskey becomes lighter and lighter. Now, of course, you are going to be losing some things with loss of angel share and so forth. That's part of the maturation. So in the maturation process, there are things that are getting better and retaining, and there's some things you're going to be losing. And whether that loss is a good thing or a bad thing, it's for you to decide what you particularly like. But the aggressiveness and intensity of the peak character is backing off, but also the spirit character is becoming much more mature, and the cast characteristics, whether using bourbon or sherry, and the spirit and the peak character, it's all becoming much more integrated. So it's what you like is going to determine what characteristics particularly do you tend to lean towards and what you really, really like. I would say this. In terms of quality price ratio, if you look at the price of this, Phil, shop around, looking on the net, there might be places that are cheaper. But if you're paying $120 for a 375, and I can get this for 55, I picked this up for 55. A few years ago, you could get it for like 45, 46. But in the price category, the Ardbeg 5 Wee Beastie is now in the spot where the 10-year-old is. And so this is my theory. So the 10 jumped up and $10. So it puts it in a different price category than the 5-year-old. Quality price ratio difference. I would rather be able to buy 2 of the 750 10-year-old from what you're paying for just a 375 for the 12-year-old. So if I saw this on the shelf for $120 for a 375, I would probably not pull the trigger. I wouldn't buy it, knowing what I know now. However, that being said, I'm taking another sip. That being said, it's a very, 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 very nice whiskey. And academically, this is a great, 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 great learning experience to perceive the differences in the whiskeys and what age does. I want an Ardbeg 8-year-old for discussion. I've not seen them here in the United States. I could buy one from the UK and pay like $200 for the stupid thing. By the time you pay for, not only in terms of the tariffs crap and the shipping and the taxes and all stuff, in order to get one over here, you're paying like $200, and that's just freaking insane. That's just insane. Maybe someone I know over there, if I might meet up, on my next trip to Scotland, hey, if you see a bottle, grab one for me, and I'll pick it up from you and bring it home. But that's just insane. But I would like to try go down the road. Start with the 5, the 8 for discussion, the 10-year-old, and then try this 12-year-old. Then go to the Trayvon, the 19-year-old, and then there's the 25-year-old. I was actually looking for the 25-year-old, and it's over $1,000 for a 25-year-old. If I were to do it, if I were to pull the trigger and buy one, it would be because I'm going to treat myself on my birthday or Christmas or something like that. I wouldn't do it just so I could have one and do a review of it. That's just nuts. That's too much damn money. However, that being said, I did just buy 2 bottles that I'm anxiously waiting for them to get here. I just bought 2 bottles of the 2013 Bunnahabhain Moyne Oloroso Fischio bottling. Just bought 2 of them. I spent $400 for the 2 of them, and so they're being shipped over. G-Man, let me know about them. Jordan Raider, hope you pronounce. What are your thoughts on the Ardbeg Corey Vrecken? So, of the Corey range, and I go back and forth on this, the 2 best of the core range is the Corey Vrecken and the Ugadal. The Ugadal, you're getting more sherry cask influence. So if you like that, you get more of a sort of a chocolate covered raisin character to it. The Corey Vrecken, you get more of a spice character to it. But those are both absolutely spectacular whiskey. However, if you want to try something really good, oh, I'm going to take another sip of the Ardbeg 10 here. Try something really good. This is the Ardbeg Supernova, which this is the most recent release. Ardbeg Super. This one it catches me in the throat. It's like someone punching me in the throat. Kind of rough. 50% of Ardbeg Supernova and 50% of the Corey Vrecken. And it is amazing. Amazeballs. Jason over at the Mash and Drum sort of introduced me to that. I actually did a video called The Ultimate Dram. You can check it out. Type in Erik Wait, Ardbeg, The Ultimate Dram, and it's a completely silent video. I do sort of a dramatic effect to it. But 50% of Supernova and 50% Corey Vrecken is just amazing. It's probably my best Ardbeg is one that I actually blend myself. Dirty Dog says, then I would spend the money from the Ardbeg 12 on 2 bottles of the Port Charlotte 10 year, heavily peated at 50% ABV. Yes, I gotta say, and I hate to admit this, and if I did a comparison between the Port Charlotte 10 and the Ardbeg 10, and I did declare Port Charlotte 10 to be the winner. And I think one of the main things with the Port Charlotte 10 is that it is the casks. They use a sherry cask as well as a bourbon cask, whereas the Ardbeg 10 is just a bourbon cask. And I think that sherry cask to the Port Charlotte 10 gives it the edge. Which, you got to say one thing. The fact that I was willing to say Port Charlotte 10 over the Ardbeg 10, it means that I'm going to tell you the truth. Yeah, I'm an Ardbeg fanboy, but I'm going to tell you the truth, and I'm going to be as objective as I can. And I just had to, as much as I hated to, I had to give it to the Port Charlotte 10. It is a better dram than the Ardbeg 10. Jeff Whiskey says, coming to 1 a.m., great to finally see a live once for all Erik Wait. Let me bring the comment up here real quick. There you go. Coming to a 1 a.m. here. Great to finally see for live for once. Erik Wait Whiskey Days, and we'll have to get you to do a great. Hold on, sorry, I got to increase the size of the print here. Get you to a guest bottle slap one time on the channel. Sure. Next one is on. Next one is Rafi. Cheers, buddy. Well, thank you very much for tuning in, and a good night. So, Jeff Whiskey, I'm guessing you have a channel. I'm not familiar with it. I will check it out later and subscribe. So I'll definitely check it out later. Thank you very much. For watching, for staying up late. Today's been quite a historical whiskey moment with the Oswas. Now, I think some people might be getting sort of, okay, the Oswas are over. It's over. Stop talking about it. I've done 2 live streams on the Oswas, and I don't want to just keep talking forever, but I do want to make a few comments. Some of my predictions came through in terms of Aaron 10 winning best entry-level whiskey. I voted for the Ardbeg 10, but I suspected and I predicted that the Aaron would win. And then they also won for, what was the other category? Was it best single malt that they won for? Someone remind me. They won for another category as well. Was it best single malt? Oh yeah, Springbank won for best distillery. And I think the Aaron 10 won for best single malt, if I recall correctly. That one's, I was kind of somewhat surprised on that one, but I knew they would win for that. And I had actually predicted, yes, Dirty Dog says yes. So a best single malt. So I had actually predicted that Springbank would win for best distillery. I voted for Bunnahabhain, but in my last live stream, I actually predicted. So I was actually, so in terms of my perception of who the winners would be, I was pretty close. I did not think Wild Turkey would win for best grain whiskey, but I just don't think of bourbons in that category, and that I didn't vote for him for that. And then I also predicted that the Redbreast 15 would win as well. I had predicted that one as well. I thought it would be the 15 or the 21, but Roy said that what probably kept the 21 out is the price point because it's like over $200, and I totally agree on that one. Totally agree on that one. So even if I would do the comparison Port Charlotte 10 with Ardbeg 10, there's still something different about the Ardbeg 10 that's going to keep me continually going back to it. Something unique about it, something familiar about it. I'm kind of wondering about the price point. How much is the Port Charlotte 10? It might be a little cheaper. I'm gonna check prices real quick. Port Charlotte 10. Port Charlotte 10 is $67. So there's a $12 difference. Okay. Is that extra $12 in my neighborhood? I know your neighborhood might be different. Is that extra $12 worth spending for the Port Charlotte 10? I can afford it. It's not that big of a deal. But in terms of quality price ratio, I mean, that's for you to decide. And it may be priced differently in your neighborhood and so forth. But for me, Christopher Malloy says he gets it for $60. So I've seen Ardbeg 10 around here for 65. And I kind of go, I can still find it for 55. Probably what I should do is just go ahead and buy a case rather than one bottle at a time. Buy a case of the Ardbeg 10 for $55 a bottle while I can, because I'm going to continue to drink it. 10 bottles will last me another 10 years, right? I'm 55 years old. If I live to be 60, I'll be surprised. I have heart issues. Anyway, Dirty Dog says in Colorado, it is around 65 to 70. What is the it? Are you talking about Ardbeg 10 or are you talking about Port Charlotte? When you use an indefinite pronoun, you need to make sure I know what the antecedent is to the indefinite pronoun, it. Like you say he or she, I need to know who the he or she is. I don't know what you're referring to. I'm guessing he's referring to Ardbeg 10, but I don't want to assume that. Also, now that Aaron 10 is getting such attention, I hate to say this. I bought a bottle. I've only done a neck pour on it. I like it, but it needs spend more time on it before I come to my own evaluation of it. But it is available here locally. I still see a few bottles around. I'll probably pick up a couple more because people are going to be taking off. I'm not a flipper. I'll never be a flipper. I would rather buy an extra bottle and then give it away to somebody than flip it. Whiskey Papa says, I have this TWC Ardbeg. What's TBWC Ardbeg? I got for around 120. Kind of disappointed, but different Ardbeg is different Ardbeg, I guess. What is TBWC? TBWC. I don't know what TBWC is. Interesting. See, that's the thing is, with the independents, if someone buys a cask of Ardbeg, Dirty Dog says the Port Charlotte 10. Oh, okay. So you can get the Port Charlotte for $60. If Ardbeg has a cask that doesn't fit their profile in terms of marrying it with other cask to release the Ardbeg 10 or whatever else, and they're selling it off to an independent bottler, the Boutique Willie. Okay, sorry, the same thing I'm drinking. I did TBWC. Duh, I should have known. Because that's what I'm drinking. TBWC. Now I remember the acronym. I should have known. I should have figured it out, right? All right. It's late in the day. It's time for dinner. Um, so, uh, uh, so independent bottle casks. If they got a cask that doesn't fit their profile, it's not good enough to fit the profile. It may continue to get older and older and older. I've heard Daniel Wedding never heard it. Just because it's 40 years old doesn't mean it's better. It may be a cask that they just never bottled because it didn't meet the standard, right? Same thing with an independent. Now, so you want an independent bottler who doesn't just buy whatever independent cask he can get. You want to make sure that these are people who choose quality casks, whether you're talking about Compass Box or you're talking about the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society, Boutique-y Whisky Company, the TBWC. I've never heard him before. I'm guessing it's a smaller independent bottler. They may not have the financial clout to get the cask they actually want. And so they may be a little more iffy. I don't know. I'm just guessing, right? So it's really those who really have the cash, those who have the pull to get the cask they want to then release. Or in the case of Compass Box, where they don't do single malts. They might, but I can't think of one single malts. Their craftsmanship is in the blending and the right cask. So they're going to take this Ardbeg and they're going to take Kalila and they're going to take this and take this and put together, the Peat Monster or the No Name or whatever else, and get that profile that they want and do a really, really good job of it. So it may be, you see some strange independent bottler doing Ardbeg. I'm a fan. I see Ardbeg and I want to buy it, right? Ooh, an Ardbeg 15-year-old, an Ardbeg 20-year-old, and some independent bottler I've never heard of. And you may turn out being disappointed because the reason why that bottle is that old, because that whiskey is that old, is because it didn't meet the standards of Ardbeg. And so they sold it off because, hey, it doesn't meet our standards. Let's sell it off to these independent bottlers. Then they can bottle it, right? And charge insanely high prices for it because it has a higher number on it in terms of an age statement, when in reality, it is actually a lesser whiskey. So I probably one of the reasons why you need to get to know independent bottlers and how good are they at selecting casks, which is probably another why it's important for the Oswas, mention it again, that they have the category for the best independent bottler. So that independent bottlers develop a reputation of getting quality casks. And so when you're going to buy that independent bottle from a particular distillery, that you're going to get a better bottle. The only Bowmore I have a Bowmore 20-year-old from Douglas Lang, and it's a really, really nice whiskey. It's far better than anything from Bowmore, but it's still, there are a lot of other whiskeys from Ardbeg, Lefroy, Lagavulin that I'd rather have than the Bowmore 20 from Douglas Lang, and for less money. Alrighty, so really, really nice whiskeys. Ed, if you're watching this, I want to thank you very much for the t-shirt. Thank you very much for the whiskey. Don't get me wrong, it's a very, 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 very nice whiskey, high quality whiskey. I just wouldn't pay that much for it. It's just overpriced. That's my only thing. It's just overpriced. I wouldn't pay that much. But quality wise, it's a very fine, very refined, and elegant expression of Ardbeg. All right, so we're coming up to the top of hey, Welsh Turo, how you doing, man? Long time no see. So we're coming up to the 1 hour mark. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Anybody who's watching on the replay, if you've had a whiskey from TWBC that you liked, let me know about it down below. If you've had this particular bottling, Ed, if you're watching, let me know what you think of this whiskey in comparison to the Ardbeg 10. Alrighty, so I'm gonna check out. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Thank you for everyone for watching on the replay, and hope everyone has an absolutely fantastic rest of the weekend. And until next time probably be back live 5 o'clock next time rather than on Saturday. And Slanjiva.